Come on in. When you get here, let me know where you're joining from in the comments. Good evening, everyone. LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Okay, let's get Instagram in here. We are live. Okay. When you get here, let me know which city you're joining me from. We have to get Instagram off the screen because they slow me down. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the 2026 Mahogany Dermatology Nursing Internship, what it actually is and who it's not for, the 6 things that you're going to do over the course of your 12 months, why Jade Trevino, the founder of Go Skin Check, went from 0 publications to 17. What's the whole point of that? How to apply and what we're looking for in an applicant. And then stick around to the end because I'm going to share the #1 objection people have about applying and why it's exactly why you should apply. If you've been sitting on an idea of yours for years, if you want to contribute to dermatology, but you don't know where to start, or if you need an accountability partner to finally move things forward, this episode is for you. When you get here, let me know what city you're joining us from. If this is your 3rd time joining me this week, put a 3 in the comments. Hello, hello. Before we start, I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and the founder of the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners, a professional membership for nurse practitioners who specialize in cosmetics and entrepreneurship. We're here to pick up where you're on demand, your weekend training, your academic program leaves off to provide ongoing coaching and mentoring. Because we know your first question is never your last question. And if you want to go far, you got to go with other people. The secret to success is not doing it alone. We're here to hold you accountable, help you identify different revenue streams so that you can make money. Because remember, just because you take care of patients doesn't mean your business has to take care of patients. And we fill those gaps specifically when it comes to dermatology nursing education and skin of color, business acumen, and digital fluency. And a big thing that we talk about are sales and financial literacy, financial freedom, so that you can finally live the life you work so hard for. If you're new here, I welcome you to subscribe, leave a comment or 2, give me some thumbs up, TikTok. This is a race. We're going to see who can do the most thumbs up. Is it going to be TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn? Hello, the Derm DNP. And Stephanie's back. I should probably have a prize for the person who attends the most live sessions. All week we're talking about money. If you missed it on Monday, I did a whole breakdown. We had a whole screen share talking about the 4 billing categories that you can expect when you're practicing dermatology as an NP particularly. Last night's episode was dedicated to Tanae. She's a new grad nurse and she's already working as a nurse tech while she waits for her NCLEX. But she didn't negotiate what she's getting paid. And so last night we dedicated a whole episode to negotiation for employers and employees. You can catch both of those episodes on my YouTube channel under my name, Kimberly Madison DNP, under the money playlist. I always record live. You'll find all my videos under the live tab. We're going to get to this topic and get you to the table so you can have dinner with your family. If you're new here, every episode we have a problem that we're tackling. We talk about resources that are out there, how you can utilize them, and how you can do the same thing. And we always start with our devotional or a prayer. We're reading from Jesus' Calling for Medical Professionals by Sarah Young. Since it's January 21st, we're going to read from the 21st page. It says, "He is God, you are not. I am God and you are not." This may sound harsh, but it's actually a blessed dose of reality. In the Garden of Eden, Satan tempted Eve with the very same desire that had caused him to fall from heaven, to be like God, usurping my divine position. Eve succumbed to this temptation, as did Adam. Since that time, the sin nature in people prompts them to act as if they are God, trying to control everything, judging me when circumstances don't go as they like. Does that sound familiar? Trying to control everything? Remembering you are not God helps you live in freedom. You don't take responsibility for matters that are beyond your control, which includes most matters. If you let go of everything that is not your responsibility, you're freed from carrying unnecessary burdens, and you can be more effective in areas where you do have some control. Moreover, you can pray about all your concerns, trusting in my sovereignty. Bring me your prayers with thanksgiving. Present your requests to me. Living this way will shield you from anxiety and bless you with peace that transcends all understanding. And he said to them, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. That's Luke chapter 10, verse 18. And then our last scripture, for God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Genesis chapter 3, verse 5. May the Lord add a blessing to the hearers and doers of his word. Tonight is all about doing, taking action. If you're just joining us, let us know in the comments what city you're joining us from. Tonight, I'm going over the 2026 Mahogany Dermatology Nursing Internship application and the whole experience itself. It's a public experiment, and it's an innovative model. It's not something you're used to because we're talking about money the whole time. We're not always talking about patients. And so for some of you, that's a concept that you've never even considered. So I'm going to answer some of the most commonly asked questions, and we're going to get started. So what is it? What is this internship all about? It is 12 months. It's a hands-on training program, and it's built on 3 pillars: research, education, and business strategy. These are the biggest gaps that we have in our nursing practice, particularly when it comes to dermatology. I've told my story many times, but in my attempt, just like you, to get my first job in dermatology, I realized even though I was a nurse practitioner, even though I had a doctorate, even though I had over a decade of experience, it didn't matter. They wanted 2 years of experience. That was it, point blank. And I thought, you know what? I'm not the only one who's having this problem. So I did just like you. I Googled my life away looking for education. I learned really quickly that not everything in dermatology is NPPA friendly. That was number 1. Number 2, realized that there's not a lot of skin and color out there. And when I reflect on it, nursing school didn't even bother to touch it. And then I thought, you know what? The quality of our practice is a direct reflection of the quality of our education. Why should I continue when there's so many gaps right now? How could I assume or expect that my practice would be so much different when there's problems that need to be addressed? So like you, I wanted to build a business solving patients' problems. But then when I saw all my NP entrepreneur friends were having so much trouble, particularly in that first 2 to 3 years going bankrupt because of that lack of business acumen, I decided to build my business helping you solve your problems. And so I like to liken it to the stadium and the table. I built a table so that you can all bring your chairs there because I realized the power of the collective is always going to be stronger and more powerful than me by myself. So, being a nurse practitioner is a lot like being a football player. Everybody wants to do it because that's what we see. You're always going to be exposed. You're always going to be attracted to the thing you're exposed to the most. That's why you have to be very intentional about the environments that you put yourself in. So just like the football player, kids are told to be nurses and nurse practitioners. And for a long time, that is where the excitement is. We want to be on the field. We want to be in the game doing the thing. But after a while, when you look around, maybe you get tired, maybe you decide you need help, you look to your teammates and you realize they can't help you because they're in the game with you. So the next thing, we step to the side, on the sideline. We look to the coach because the coach has a very special vantage point. They have the playbook, and that's what we need help with. So I stepped into the coaching position, and it gave me a wonderful outlook. Now I could see that actually there was a whole bunch of scrimmage games taking place. Some were doing really, really good. Those are some of our NP entrepreneurs who were making millions of dollars. And then there were some that were really struggling, really suffering, struggling in silence. They're the ones going bankrupt in those first 2 to 3 years. And I thought, you know what? I love a good scrimmage game just like anybody else. But you know what I love even more than a good scrimmage game? The Olympics. And I thought, what if we put everyone under one stadium? Now we can leverage one another's resources because you know what? Entrepreneurship is lonely and you can get burnt out and overwhelmed and you can give up. But when you're all in one place together, you lean on one another. That's what the community is all about. So when you're down, we pull you up. And when we're down, you pull us up. That's what community is all about. And so I thought, you know what? Maybe I should be the lady who built the stadium. And so that's what you see. That's me here creating a place so that we can have a collective pool of resources. We can leverage our intellectual property together. And so you'll hear more about that. And so this is a 12-month hands-on training program addressing the biggest gaps in our practice. If you have helped patients, you know you have problems every single day, and you probably have felt limited in what you can do for your patient. Anytime you're helping the patient, what you're able to do, the problems you're able to solve are always going to be limited because you can only do so much on a one-to-one basis. There's only 24 hours in the day. You can only see so many patients, which means your ability to solve problems is going to be limited. But when you step away from the patient and you write, you speak, you work in policy, you teach, You work in population health. Now that one problem that you saw, that's not isolated, it's not that one patient at one time, it's happening everywhere. Now your voice, just like your business, instead of doing one-to-one customers, you want to do one-to-many. Just like our patient, you can have a much bigger impact. And just like your business, you can have a much bigger impact when it's one to many. Now your 24 hours is 10x because of what you're able to do. It's what we like to call less effort, but big impact. And you're able to decrease your effort because you have the community, you have the collective. And so what I tell a lot of you guys, let's say you go into that room, you wanted to start your own business, maybe you want to start your own med spa. But then you see there's 100 MPs in here complaining about marketing or sales. They need a sales team, all 100 of them. And they say, you know what? I really need help. I'd be willing to pay for help. And so you just talk to them. You say, oh, you know what? I can help you with your marketing. I can help you with your sales. What would you be willing to pay for that? They all tell you what they're willing to pay for it. Instead of staying gung-ho on that one problem, that one thing you want to do, that wellness center, that med spa, why not help those MPs? You already got 100 clients off the top, and they all told you they'd be willing to give you their money. That's how I want you to open up your mind. That's what this internship is. It's about opening up your mind and seeing that you're a problem solver. You're not an injector. You're not just a nurse. You are a problem solver. And with a nursing background, you can solve any problem, anywhere, anytime. So in this 12 months, you're going to get hands-on training. You're going to contribute to real research problems, research projects. Right now, we're really focused on identifying the relationship between fibroids, keloids, and CCCA, which is a type of alopecia that primarily impacts Black women. We've made our announcement all over the internet. You can go on the Mahogany Dermatology blog and learn about it. The biggest thing we want people to know, if you never listen to anything else I say, is that CCCA has to be screened earlier, because what's happening right now is it's being screened late and it's devastating. And sometimes just that early information can help prevent someone from experiencing irreversible hair loss that's absolutely devastating. So this is real research. It's going on right now. Our abstract was accepted at the American Chemical Society's annual conference in 2026 in Atlanta. If you don't know, this is the biggest, it's the biggest conference internationally, actually. So it's a real honor. Shout out to my research team, Jack's Lab Naturals, Dr. Miriam Rabiu, and Nika Ford, who is a certified medical illustrator. She is adding immense value to our team because of that lack of diversity in dermatology nursing education, specifically when it comes to skin of color. It comes down to what we're learning. And pictures tell 1,000 words. And when you don't have those pictures, there's 1,000 lives that are impacted by that. Not only our patients, but us as clinicians who now do our patients a disservice. So it's real research. Me and Jade also just announced that our article on using AI to increase access to dermatology care was just accepted into the Journal of Clinical and Aesthetic Dermatology's NPPA Perspectives. This is real research. It's happening right now. You will have the same opportunity, and the doors are already open. So you'll create real educational content through the blog like she did and like our other contributing authors for the Mahogany Dermatology blog. You can pick whatever you want, whatever you're passionate about, or what you want to be passionate about, however you want to position yourself. Social media content, workshop materials, and the best way to learn how to do this is by doing it, not watching, not learning, not taking more notes, not keeping a beautiful notebook. It's by doing it. That's what we do in nursing anyway. And leveraging your intellectual property, helping you first see that you have intellectual property, and then pulling it out and making you feel really comfortable on promoting it and talking about it. You learn the business side of nursing when it comes down to marketing, branding, content strategy, and operations. Not only what we're doing, but what you can do for your own business if you choose to do so. It's designed for nurses who want to be entrepreneurs. Whether you want to have your own practice or medical practice taking care of patients or not, remember, just because you take care of patients, it doesn't mean your business has to. Now, this is not the kind of clinical training that you're used to. We're not teaching you how to inject Botox and read EKGs for this internship. There's a bunch of people out here doing it. Be happy to introduce you. We are going to teach you how to start an LLC, how to diversify your income stream, how to find people who can keep you in business and help you move from being an employee or even self-employed to the other side of the quadrant, to being a business owner and an investor. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you want to check out The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. I broke this down for you last month when I came live, and you can find that video in the money playlist on my YouTube channel under my name, Kimberly Madison DMP. This is not passive. You're not going to be sitting around watching me taking notes. You're going to do the work with me. This is different than nursing school, because nursing school is very passive. You can sit there and never raise your hand, never speak up, but you have to be very active in this. That's the whole point. So if you're new to coaching, actually, that's a lot of what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of coaching, a lot of mentorship. Mentorship is a lot of advice, and yeah, they might even give you some actionable steps to take. But in coaching, we're really here to take action. We're going to identify the action you can take the fastest and help you take that action fast. That's the whole point, is to get things done. It's very different in academia. If you've been in academia as long as I have, then you can depend on it too much. You can think you need to keep running back there every time you want to change your life. But it's actually one of the most passive ways, because it doesn't teach you how to execute. And one thing I like to always say, when you're at the bachelor's level, that's literally the most passive education you're ever going to get. They tell you what to think, you just regurgitate it. And they give you a grade based on how well you can regurgitate what they just told you. When you move to the master's level, for those of you who are wondering, should you go back to school? When you move to the master's level, they want to know what you're thinking. Hey, what's your thoughts on this? And now when you move to the doctorate level, it's all about you become the they. Okay, it's a whole different position. It's a whole different responsibility. You know, in nursing now, we have the DMP degrees being coupled with an NP degree. So people are just getting it, but you don't even know what you're agreeing to or what responsibility comes with that. And in a lot of ways, you're unprepared for the demands that are going to be placed on you during that program and what you need to accomplish and the realistic expectations you can set on yourself, given the time constraints on which you can actually accomplish that task. The main takeaway from that program, and I think it's great, I think it's a great parallel to the MBA, because you have to do the same thing. You have to identify a problem and solve it. The main takeaway from that program is that it shouldn't be compared to a physician, because because in nursing we're doing some things differently. So it shouldn't be compared to being a physician. The other thing is, it's all about you. Okay, you're going to be the one driving that engine. And when you're done graduating, that's when the work actually starts. During the program, you're really just proving that you understand the principle. You're just proving that you understand the principles, nothing else. I don't have a quote of the day, but if you have one, you can let me know. Thanks for being here, Juan, Angel, Vista, and Pearly. So that's the whole point of the DMP degree, is to prove they understand these principles, and we want you to go out there and execute. After you're going to do some execution during the program, but when it's over, you have to continue the work. Actually, a lot of what I do. So, and what happens is a lot of times you're not familiar with the kind of research that's being done, but in the DMP program, you are familiar with the PhD, which you think you're going to build everything from scratch. That's actually one of the hardest things to get in DMP students to understand, is that they're not taking something from scratch. You're going to go out there and find what already exists and make it work for wherever it's being implemented. That degree was created because there was a 17-year gap from when someone in the lab who was creating something from scratch was identifying a solution. It was taking 17 years for that solution to reach the patient. So they said, we need someone in the middle who understands both what's happening in the lab and what's happening in clinic. Because think about your day. You wake up, you put clothes on, you go to work, you come home. Anything that doesn't happen on that route, you have no idea about it. So all the good work they're doing in the lab, you're clueless. And all the things you're doing in clinic, they don't know about it. So you needed someone in the middle who can translate that data into practical information. So that's what the DMP degree is for. It has a lot of utility. You just can't be comparing it to things that's not comparable. So it's not passive. This is going to be most active. And actually, you know what? I think for Jade, because Jade came into this thinking she might go back to school too. And if she's ever thought, I wonder what it would be like to go to the doctorate program, she knows her year with me gave her a very front row seat on what that's like. This is not a get rich quick scheme either. This is about building skills and a portfolio and a network that you can continue to build upon. You can watch Jade's journey right now. She's living it in real life and in real time. Now, let me tell you who this internship is for and who it's not. So you can be a registered, you can be a nurse, however you define it, RN, LVN, LPN, CNA, bachelor's, master's, DMP, PhD. passionate about dermatology, that's what we do over here, and cosmetics and surgical. Hey, there's no discrimination. You can have an active license or retired. I love to plug in my retired adults. When you are building a business, if you're consistent and persistent, your business will grow. And when it grows, you're going to need help. And everybody thinks they need help from their teenage kid. Now, yes, your kid might be able to create content, post videos and things like that. They might understand how to work the buttons, but they don't understand marketing. They definitely don't understand sales, customer acquisition, or how to nurture those relationships. So social media is the carrot that gets someone's attention. But after that, that's where you have those more developed skills, because now we're talking about a relationship, which a lot of young people don't have those skills yet. And given the way that things our digital society, they're not really getting them as like we used to get them. So don't put everything in the hands of your teenager. Now they can get them. They're in a great position to acquire those skills, but don't make the assumption that just because they know how to make videos that translates into making money. Now, who does know how to make money are retired adults. They have decades of proof. Now, your retired adults, they have what you need, time on their hands. They're eager. They want to stay cognitively stimulated. They have literally decades of experience to lend you. They might already have enough money and they just really want something to do to keep themselves busy. They might not care that you can't pay them top dollar. What you can pay or give them might serve as supplemental income. But just think about what they're going to be able to offer you. Maybe they don't know everything about AI, but they're willing to learn it and they can do it really quickly because they're not doing anything else. So when you're thinking about who can help me, don't count them out. My mom is she's making AI videos. I haven't even made an AI video. She got over 1,000 views. Shout out to Patrick Williams, the founder of Gigabit Grandma and Grandpa. These are people out here doing it. They're over the age of 60. They're all over AI. Actually, a lot of people I've learned about from AI, they're over the age of 60. So don't count them out. So I'm not counting you out either. You want to apply, you've been retired, you want to participate in something innovative, feel free to apply. This internship is for you. If you have a business idea, but you don't know where to start, or you think you might want to have a business idea, we can help you find something. If you want to contribute to research, but you don't think you're qualified because you never wrote anything, or you don't have a master's degree, that's okay too. This is all about development. If you need accountability, maybe you have everything in place and you just need someone who's going to push you out there. That's me. I can do that. If you're tired of waiting for permission to build something meaningful, this is for you. You don't need permission here. You don't need another certification. You don't need another degree. You certainly don't need 6 figures of debt. I'm here to help you avoid all that. I'm here to help you make 6 figures, not have to pay it back to someone else. If you want to be an entrepreneur, even if you want to be an intrapreneur, right? Entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. It's very hard. It takes a lot of sacrifice. But maybe where you work, you love it, and you really want to be able to show up for work every day and feel like you're doing something meaningful. We can help you be an entrepreneur, which is where you are building something on the inside of a company that you already work for. They'll pay you more money for that because they need your help. So this is for either one of you. This internship is not for you if you're looking for clinical skills. You want to go to another course for that, because here we're going to be developing those clinical skills, those certifications, and becoming an ANCC provider. So that's what you're going to be doing here. If you want to passively consume content without doing the work, this is the opposite of shadowing in academia, which I already explained can be very passive. This is not for you if you're not willing to commit 5 to 10 hours a week. There's a lot of flexibility in there. Jade can tell you, but she came up with that number based on her 12 months of experience. And so that's what she came up with. So that's what I'm telling you. If you're looking for a shortcut to credentials, this is not for you either. This builds skills in a portfolio, not another degree. If you choose to go back to school, certainly we can talk about that. But I'm going to help you take the first action you can take the fastest and take that action. And sometimes going back to school isn't it. And then help you increase your visibility and credibility based on my favorite book. If you know my favorite book, let me know in the comments. I've told if anyone's ever talked to me, they know my favorite book is Key Person of Influence. It's been my blueprint for the last 6 years. You can get it on audiobook, listen to it on your commute. And you know what? Someone said, these are ideas. Ideas are a dime a dozen. It's the execution. That's what people do this stuff for. You can watch free YouTube videos. I watch them all the time. You can watch free content. I consume that all the time too, but I still pay people. I still pay people to help me. I still buy software that's going to help me do things more efficiently and buy back my time. So this is a free book you can get from your library. But when it comes to the execution, people pay for help with that. That's what Jade did. So this is an unpaid internship because I'm leveraging my intellectual property. Based on Jade's experience, she said you need 5 to 10 hours a week availability. And based on her experience, she said this is worth $10,000 to $15,000 that she would be willing to pay for. Since day one, she said she would always be willing to pay for this experience. And so I'm just telling you what she said. So the truth is, you don't need more credentials. I know that's hard to believe in a medical profession, because literally that's how you continue to scale up. You have to get a degree, you have to get a certification. That's what they're telling you, especially in cosmetics. Everyone's telling you to keep going back and getting more advanced training. Those are other businesses, and businesses are here to make money. So every time you go back, whether it's to school or your state for that certification or licensure, you're paying money, they're making money. So just keep that in mind. You don't need more credentials. You need opportunity and structure and someone who's going to believe that you're already enough. And we're going to put you in community with other people who are going to tell you that you're already enough. That's what we provide. I'm the coach, and my number one goal is to help you take action. It's the beginning of the year. Everyone pretty much wants to take action. They want to change their life. They want to change their perspective. They want to change the people around. Because look, if the people you were around could help you get where you wanted to be, you'd already be there. That's what I realized. If I had the people around me who could help me be that multimillionaire, I'd already be that person. That's when I knew I had to I had to change my perspective. I had to change where I put my money, and I had to change how I spend my time. So let me walk you through the 6 things that you're going to, some of the 6 things that you're going to do during this 12 months. This is, it's a public experiment. Things evolve all the time. But one thing you're definitely going to do is contribute to research. That is where you're going to have legacy there. Legacy. You're going to put your words, your thoughts on paper. That's going to outlive you automatically. You're going to contribute to nurse-led dermatology research. That means conducting systematic literature reviews, collecting and analyzing the data, co-authoring manuscripts for peer-reviewed journals, and learning how to read research critically and synthesize the evidence. Some of these journals are dermatology, nursing, translational science, and if we find some more, we'll consider those as well. Like I said, Jade and I just announced that our article, AI-Assisted Dermatology in Provider Shortage Areas, a systematic review of access and wait time outcomes, is going to be published in the Journal of Clinical and Aesthetic Dermatology's NPPA Perspectives in their May-June edition this month. Again, congratulations to Jade, and thank you to the journal. You're going to have the opportunity to help create educational content. You'll write and create educational content for our nursing community. That's part of your blogs for Mahogany Dermatology, social media content. A lot of social media, I'm teaching right now, but a lot of it, sometimes even the captions, you can consider like a little mini blog. So, don't get overwhelmed by that, because you're probably already creating this content. It's just you're going to certainly be creating content differently and with a different audience in mind and with a different goal in mind. And we'll do this for all the different platforms. You'll learn about how the different platforms work and their algorithm. You'll be doing this for the Mahogany Dermatology Nursing Education and Research brand, as well as the Melanin Initiative podcast brand. You'll help create workshop materials and clinical scripts and patient education resources. Jade ended up writing 17 articles from across multiple different platforms. But you know what? She actually wrote one more that didn't get published yet. And she reminded me of that. So we're going to go pitch that other article to someone else until it gets published. And then we have one more together to publish as it relates to this internship, because I use that 12 months to develop a framework, the Mahogany Dermatology Nursing Internship Framework. We're going to publish that so that all our entrepreneurship friends can hit the ground running when it comes to getting that help you need to grow your business. And all the proceeds are going to go to our Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioner Entrepreneurship Scholarship Fund. So look out for that. You're going to help with business strategy and operations. You'll learn the back end of running an education and research business. That means content strategy and marketing, AKA sales, right? We talk about the difference between having 10,000 followers and having $10,000. Branding and positioning, that was one of the first things Jade had to do, was establish her brand, because once you do participate in this public experiment, people are going to notice you, they're going to see you, they're going to reach out, they're going to contact you. So immediately, that's the first thing we do, is set up shop. We'll talk about operations and systems. What does that even mean in the era of AI? And then how to monetize your expertise without helping make more money without seeing more patients. That's a real thing. On Monday, we talked about productivity when I put up that chart and talked about the 4 different billing categories, net collections, gross, and I forgot what the other one was. But one of the things we talk about is productivity, right? And it's like the more productive you are, the more money you make. That literally means work more, make more. I'm not trying to work more. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not trying to work more. So if you are looking for alternative ways to spend more time with your loved ones, do the things you want to do when you want to do them, where you want to do them, AKA financial freedom, then this is an internship you might want to consider. And of course, public speaking and presentations. You're going to build your public speaking skills. That means podcast appearances, conference workshops, webinars and workshops, and of course, media, real media. Jade, she did come and co-host on the Melanin Initiative podcast with me on our episode on psoriasis for skin of color, where we had our guest star, Aisha Patrick. She is the founder of the Psoriasis Collective, and she's also a brand partner with the National Psoriasis Foundation. Actually, that's how I found her. She had done a guest spot on their podcast and then reached out to her, and we've been friends ever since. And now Jade's positioned to talk about our findings from our article and our study on the biggest stages. And with people from around the world, they'll be able to access our article because it's indexed on PubMed. That is, as far as I'm concerned, the goal when you're writing these articles is you want to be accessible. And you want to be able to get the information that you're finding, particularly when you're trying to address gaps in education, research, or even business. And you want the global market to be able to have access to those answers. She's already got a speaking engagement lined up for this summer, and that's just the first of many to come. And she got that invitation before the internship actually ended. There will be opportunities for community engagement. Certainly, you're going to engage with our community that we've already built. We have the DMV Dermatology and PPA group, the Derm P's and PAs of Atlanta. We have Mahogany Dermatology. You'll help support our alliance members, and you'll join as an advisory board member. You'll maintain that even after the internship is over. You'll be there to offer peer mentorship support, and you'll get some back in return. You'll help answer community forum questions, and you'll build relationships with other researchers, educators, and founders, which is primarily who I do the most talking with. You'll get some professional development. You don't have to go back to school just to get professional development. Someone thought that. I don't know, I forgot what I asked her, but it was about professional development. And her immediate response is, I don't want to go back to school. School is just one way to develop yourself professionally, and nursing is actually just one way to get more skills as well. But through this internship, you'll build your personal brand and network. That means social media profile optimization. Jade, she was making some content. No, she wasn't making content. She was just, on the internet, like a lot of you, just ghosting. But she decided she wanted to start her own YouTube channel, which she did. So she went from 0 videos to having a full YouTube channel and pitching people on the internet and establishing partners for her business. You'll be able to build your own digital portfolio. I always say social media is just like your digital business card. People will Google you, and when they Google you, you want to have ownership of what they're going to find. You'll be able to network with nurse leaders, researchers, and entrepreneurs from around the world. I do have a new ambassador role with Tech Nurses Africa, and so that opportunity for global impact is already here. And you'll be able to position yourself as an emerging expert in dermatology nursing. I said it all the time, there's so many problems in nursing, especially when it comes to dermatology nursing, that you can pick any lane you want. Just don't pick the one everybody else is already on. So we've talked about what's possible. I told you what Jade accomplished in the last 12 months. So how do you apply? So you're going to go to Mahogany Dermatology. And actually, I have this linked in the description box for you. You're going to go over there. I've already wrote a whole article so you can see everything I've just talked about in detail to understand what to expect from the internship. You can even set up a video call. I can answer your specific questions before the deadline, which is this Saturday at January 24th at 11:59 p.m. Central. But in the description box, there's the link for the application. And you have to submit the application itself, 3 professional recommendations, and you have a paper that you have to submit. You have to identify a problem that you want to solve and how you can solve that problem, and provide some references to support your argument on how you're solving that problem. That's what Jade did. She had a lot of doubts because she hadn't written for a long time. But when I read her paper, because Jade's a real storyteller, she's a real true storyteller, which is a really great quality when you are in entrepreneurship, because at the end of the day, people remember your stories. They don't remember your sales or your pitch or that thing that you built. They remember your stories and how you connect with them, how you engage with them, because it's all about relationships. And her paper that she was doubting ended up being the foundation and inspiration for our article that I just talked about that's going to be published. She didn't have the AI piece, and she didn't have all the nursing components in it. So that's where I came in, and that was my contributions. But it ends up being the foundation for the argument for why her business model even exists and how it's going to solve problems. So what I'm looking for is your commitment, willing to dedicate 5 to 10 hours a week for 12 months. And there's a lot of flexibility in there. We use a calendar. So, if you have 1 week that's more open, you can do a bunch of stuff there. It's not too overwhelming. And even Jade gave feedback throughout the year on her own schedule and, how she felt about the pace. And I listened and, I adjusted accordingly. Come with curiosity. Do you have a genuine interest in dermatology, research, or education? And you have to be coachable. Are you willing to receive feedback? And give me feedback too. Jade gave me some of the best feedback. And then being willing to take that feedback and iterate on your idea. Because you can have ideas all day in your head, but until you start taking action on them, that's when they really become something that you can mold and won't be perfect, because nothing's ever going to be perfect, but it's going to get you as close to that sweet spot as possible. And then you have to be action oriented. You do have to have a huge level of independence and self-motivation, because I'm busy. I can't be there reminding you all the time of what needs to be done. You have to want to do this. And Jade talks about her own experience in her last reflection article on how she overcame that challenge and what made her keep going. That was a conversation she had with herself. And what I'm not looking for, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have the perfect writing skills. You don't have to have a long resume. You don't even have to have any dermatology experience. That is what this whole experience is about. You don't have to have research experience. Again, this is what we're here to help you to obtain. You don't have to have an advanced degree. I care about school. I think it's a wonderful place, but I don't think it's the only place to learn. And certainly, if the only way to get there is to get debt, then I definitely don't recommend it. I tell you all the time, I have 6 figures in debt from all of the education that I've obtained, and I would never recommend that to anyone. And I'm not looking for someone who has clinical dermatology experience. It was a cherry on top, because Jade came in with 10 years of it, but you don't have to have it. We can help you get some. That passion, willingness to learn is a big part of it. And so after you do your application, you submit that, you'll be invited for an interview. If you get accepted, you'll receive a formal invitation. You'll get access to the platforms that we use for communication. You'll receive some brand merch. Jade did get a branded jacket and with her name on it. And then at the end, you'll participate in an exit interview, submit a testimonial, receive a certificate of completion, and a formal recommendation letter. And then you'll be part of the Mahogany Dermatology Nursing family forever. And you'll maintain your advisory board position at the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners as well. That's for a lifetime if you choose to maintain it. Now, the part I promised at the beginning, I told you the number one objection that I hear when people are considering applying is that they're not qualified. If any of you over there, TikTok, have you ever thought about not being qualified? If you've ever counted yourself out, put a 1 in the comments. Let me tell you why that's exactly why you should apply. If you already felt 100% qualified, you wouldn't need this internship. You would already be doing the work. The fact that you feel unqualified means you're aware of what you don't know. And that's the best starting point for learning. Jade felt unqualified. She was a registered nurse with 0 publications, but she applied anyway. And 12 months later, she published a peer-reviewed journal, an article that serves as evidence-based argument for why her business that she didn't know she was building is needed and how it's going to solve problems. The internship exists specifically for people who feel unqualified. We teach you, we mentor you, we give you structure, accountability, and a platform to build your skills. You don't need to be qualified to start. You just need to be willing to take action. So if you've been sitting on that objection, I'm not ready, I'm not qualified, I don't have the credentials, consider this your sign to apply anyway. Like I said, in the description box, you'll find the link to the application. You'll find our final reflection article. All year, me and Jade wrote reflection articles on our experience, and we use that to shape the framework. But you can read her last article, and then I took all 12 of our articles and I created a podcast so that you can hear about our whole experience over the course of last year in one big summary. That's linked below too. It says our 12-month review. And then nurses are investors. So my whole thesis on like why I'm doing this, how my business is set up, what our mission is this idea that nurses are investors. So when you want to build a business, you want to make money. You want to make money because you want to have financial freedom. And there's not enough hours in the day to work enough to get enough money to really obtain financial freedom. That's a whole cash flow quadrant. You have employee and employer on one side where you only make money when you show up. So what happens when you can't show up? You stop making money. Now, when you're on the other side with business and investors, your money works for you. You make money in your sleep. So that's why the whole emphasis is on business and investors. That's why we're talking about business. That's why we're talking about financial literacy and money. Once you have that business set up and you're consistent and persistent, you're going to need help. Time and capital are always going to be limited when you're living a full-time life, you have a full-time job, and you're trying to build a business or an empire on the side. So where do you get more time? By having an internship, getting help, by being in community, leveraging everyone's resources and expertise. How do you get more capital? How do you get more money? You go out there and you ask for it. Sometimes you're asking a bank. You might be asking your family. You might be asking angel investors. You might be asking venture capitalists. But you know who you're not asking? Other nurses. Because all those people I mentioned before, they might not have it. They might not get what you're trying to do because a lot of people don't really understand nursing to begin with. But when you go to other nurses, nurses have money. A lot of people don't think about nurses having money because the emphasis is always put on being a doctor. But we know we have money. Even right now, look at this strike. There's money being thrown all over the place. So that nurse might have $5,000. They might have $50,000. If you're a business owner like me, you would be happy to take any of those checks. If I'm right, put a 1 in the comments. And if that nurse doesn't have the money, they can go to New York and go pick up that $10,000 by this time next week. And in 30 days, they could have everything you need to fund your business. And so my whole thesis is that nurses are investors. And because of the skills we obtain taking care of patients and people, we have human data. We're masters of communication. We understand human behavior, vulnerability, relationships, de-escalation, how to meet extraordinary expectations with very limited resources. You would want any nurse on your team if you're trying to build something that's worth anything. So not only are nurses investors, we're also investable. I want to see so many nurses join your business in the development stage, in the ideation phase. Shout out to Nurses on Boards Coalition. They had a big dream over a decade ago now to get as many nurses on boards. I think it was 10,000. It was either 10,000 or 20,000. They surpassed that number, right? Because they recognize the value of having a nurse on your team. So in the description box, I've linked to my, what I call the Cosmetic NP Manifesto. How does this work? How do you have someone that's making $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million in their business, but then they still have the mindset of the employee? How do we make that shift? We know we're not making that shift because we don't have a consistent track record of people opening businesses and being able to stay consistent and persistent and avoiding bankrupt. Once we're able to decrease those numbers, then we know that our mission has been met. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. If you've been here all 3 nights, put a 3 in the comments. We'll be back again tomorrow and Thursday. Shout out to Jade. She's just days away now from launching her business, Go Skin Check. You know, I started this business because I said I needed help. That was it. I just needed help. And Jade showed me that the goal of a nurse-led dermatology business internship should end with someone starting a business. She taught me that. And I look forward to seeing what you can teach me. I thank you for being here, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, and I will see you all tomorrow. Same time, same place.